Hello. How are you doing? Well, this is something I had missed somehow, probably because this or similar types of stories were popping up everywhere around this time and after this time. British tourist being held at Tacoma ICE detention center. This one's a little bit different. A lot of these deal with being detained at the border or being turned away at the border. This person, this tourist, I think it's a woman, was being actually detained by ICE, which I could be wrong, but that to me implies she was already in the country and they detained her. I guess let's see. I can't imagine it's for good reason, or else this wouldn't be a news story. And you probably should have a really, really good reason to detain a tourist. Or else, well, you're going to get what we've got, which is plummeting tourism to America. Anyway, Fox 13 Seattle. Check them out, link down below. Let's see.
A backpacking trip turned nightmare. That's how one British father describes his daughter's trip.
I guess she came in through Canada.
To the U.S. after a visa mix-up at the border. Good evening and thanks for joining us for the news at 10. I'm David Rowe.
A visa mix-up.
And I'm Sabir Rayford. That mix-up has landed the young woman in an ICE detention facility in Tacoma, where she still is tonight.
Okay, so it was at the border.
Fox 13 reporter Nia Wong has been following this case. She's joining us from the newsroom with what we know so far.
Paul Burke says his daughter's current conditions at the Northwest Detention Center are deeply concerning, and she's been there for nearly 2 weeks.
2 weeks. Oh my God. Oh my God. So we're sending off the wrong people to frickin' El Salvador, and we're accidentally or whatever detaining the wrong people at the border now, British tourists, and holding them for weeks. How can a visa mix-up cause an innocent person to be held for weeks in jail? She should get a big payout. A big payout.
As they reach out to British leaders, they are asking for help in the
because this is totally embarrassing.
States to help bring Becky back home.
A desperate father in the United Kingdom opened this Facebook post on March 8th, saying his daughter, Becky Burke, had been on a 4-month backpacking trip when she was detained by ICE on February 20th.
Yeah, that looks like a hardened criminal right there. Better lock her up.
26th. The cartoonist had been sharing her adventures on her Instagram.
Not to even say you should be profiling people, but you do have to use some common sense. Like, what are you doing?
By ICE on February 26th. The cartoonist had been...
What did you think she was doing?
Sharing her adventures on her Instagram account, where she stayed in Portland, then Seattle, before heading up to the Canadian border. Paul Burke says she was denied entry into Canada due to an incorrect visa. And when she...
Hold up. So this was she was in the U.S. So she was in the U.S. and she was trying to leave? And we detained her? I'm confused.
Tried to go back to the U.S., was refused due to an incorrect visa. And when she tried to go back to the U.S., was refused re-entry and classified as a, quote, illegal alien.
This is very heavy-handed.
Abdin Bahadur is an attorney for Ryan Swanson in Cleveland in Seattle.
The immigration laws are not something to ask forgiveness for later.
Burke's father said...
What? Huh? What? I don't know whose side this guy is on, but what did he just say? What?
The immigration laws are not something to ask forgiveness for later.
Why should she ask forgiveness? I don't know what he's talking about or whose side he's on. That was like not enough context as to what he was saying. Anyway, I'm going to read what little's here. So she's vegan. She has limited access to phone calls. Visitors are restricted to speaking through a glass screen via telephone. All her permissions have been confiscated, and she feels isolated and desperate to come home. Why don't they just let her go home? I guess that's just super confusing to me. I don't know all the details, but it's like, just let her go home. We are doing everything we can. Our local MP has contacted David. What a waste of money, too, just to be detaining her, to have all this litigation and negotiation between leaders like going on. Like, just It's just a cartoonist, a British cartoonist. Just put her on the next flight back to Britain. I'm sure she wants to leave America at this point. You know, she wants to go home. I guess she is home now. An American friend is helping by sending funds to her inmate account. So she's a prisoner. She's an inmate. They're sending funds to her inmate account so she can buy basic necessities like tea and milk. However, I love how that's basic necessities for British people. Tea and milk. However, progress has been slow and we urgently need more support.
Burke's father says she was on a tourist visa, and her social media account shows she participated in Workaway, a cultural exchange, according to the Workaway website, that expects participants to help around 5 hours per day in exchange for food and accommodation. ICE confirmed Burke is still being held at the Northwest
Sounds like a great person.
ICE processing center related to the violation of the terms and conditions of her admission. U.S. Customs and Border Protection says it can't discuss specific cases, only saying on background, quote, individuals who travel to the U.S. under the visa waiver program are not allowed to work for any type of compensation. That includes work in exchange for room and board. While
I'm sorry, it's just so stupid. Like, you have to either laugh or cry, right? It's like, are you fucking kidding me? She's part of this little program where she probably just gets the bare necessities as far as room and board, and she does work. Okay, the visa was a mix-up. Why are you detaining her for 2 weeks? Let her go home. It's not that complicated. Just tell her, hey, you can't work. You need to, like, that was, stop working. You can't be paid in room or board. Like, have we just lost our humanity to where it's you can't just tell people, oh, maybe she made a mistake. Like, oh, I didn't know that also applied to room and board. You can't be paid in room and board. Okay, that sucks.
Hador says it is the responsibility of the traveler to know
Like, she didn't hurt anybody.
the rules.
The agency could definitely show more compassion, more grace.
Bahador has also been the liaison with Customs and Border Protection for Washington State with the American Immigration Lawyers Association. In his 5 years of holding the position, he believes that CBP officers could have made another choice.
If the CBP officer, the Customs and Border Protection officer at the border, had wanted to, they could have probably arranged it to say, you know what, do you have the financial ability to buy a plane ticket home? Okay, there's tons of flights every day out of SeaTac to Europe. They could have just placed her on that plane.
You think? I would love to hear their stupid fucking justification for this. Total PR disaster for America. Thanks a lot, you idiots. Tourism crashing to America, and it's because of shit like this, among other things. But what are you doing? Why are you doing this? It's common sense. You don't need to detain someone who's not a threat. Pretty common sense.
Let her go home and let her voluntarily depart from the United States.
Fox 13 has reached out to Paul Burke and is waiting to hear back on what's next for his daughter. ICE has not.
What do they want her to give back? The room and board that she was provided?
Said when they plan to release Becky Burke. Live in the newsroom.
So I assume she's. I hope she's been freaking let go by now. Becky Burke. So she was held for 19 days. And then released to the United Kingdom. Absolute dim-witted morons we have running the country. And on behalf of America, I apologize. I'm glad she's home. Thanks for watching. I'm a little bit sadder now that I watched that. Let's read a couple comments, actually. I know they're not going to be good. because this story is so ridiculous. I'm just curious what people have to say. Canadian who was detained for 2 weeks instead of being allowed to fly home said they're making a bunch of money detaining people. How are they making money? What, you got to pay the ransom? I mean, it's basically, I wouldn't even be surprised at this point, right? It's a ransom scheme. No, but for real, how are they making money? Oh, private companies are running the immigration detention. Private prisons, that's a common thing here in America. So there actually may be truth to that. Like the private prison is making money, essentially, in a way. You know, I don't know if they would be directly making money, like, oh, you're paying us because we're detaining this person, but just by existing, you know, they're making money through a contract. So, I mean, okay. Note to foreign travelers, avoid traveling to the USA no matter what. And that's thumbed up 1.8 thousand times. Nice. Solved the problem by canceling my trip to the USA. That girl is in danger. Detained her instead of telling her to fly home the same day is suspicious. It is suspicious, right? It is suspicious. Like any common sense person could have told you that solution, you know? Exactly when other countries would have deported her the same day, no detention or prison, just put on the next available flight, which is normally the same day. And if they said, hey, there was a mix-up, you know, because she left Canada, then came back, and that raised a red flag in our systems, so we had to detain her. Okay, but why did you have to detain her for 19 days? You know what I mean? Why not, like, a few hours or a day at most? All right. I'm sufficiently angry about that. Thank you for watching. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Bye.